Hey guys, making my first video. Not really sure what my channel would be about. Just trying to think of different ideas of what would be useful to other people and something that I would enjoy talking about. I think because of my past history with depression, agoraphobia, anxiety, PTSD, rape. There are a lot of different things that I've learned from that I feel that I could share with other people, and maybe it would help them get through their feelings of that, of something that's happening to them right now, or has happened to them recently, or happened to them a long time ago, and they're still just really struggling with whatever feelings that are brought up by those kinds of things of guilt and shame and self-loathing and self-sabotage, and there's so many things that going through really hard times like that of abuse, it affects you mentally for the rest of your life. And I personally don't feel like no matter what, no matter how long it's been, no matter how many counselors I've seen, and all different types on that, of it being a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a nurse practitioner who would just do psychological medication, where I would take antidepressants and mood stabilizers and anti-anxiety pills and a combination of all of these things, trying to find something that will help. Even with all of that, I feel that I probably will never be 100% cured from everything that I've gone through. So I know that there's probably a lot of other people that feel the same way, that have gone through that or are currently going through it. And I don't have a magical answer because God knows if I did, I would use it also on myself. But I have learned different things through all of these struggles that have helped me learn how to cope better. Um, Little ways that you can help your self esteem, or certain methods you can go through with the thought process of trying to block out the negative and let in the good. And I know how difficult that is. I still have that little voice in my head every single day telling me how worthless I am, how stupid I am, how ugly I am, how fat I am, even though I've lost 180 pounds. That's like an entire grown man. And I still feel disgustingly fat, as if I weigh 500 pounds, which I didn't even weigh 500 pounds when I was at my heaviest. I was only 330. I say only, which that's not only, but that's not 500 pounds. And yet it's still that mentality that is stuck in my head from being obese a lot of my life, that I still see that person's reflection in the mirror, no matter how much my physical appearance has changed. I still just see that 330-pound woman. I still see this person that is worthless and useless and stupid and all of these other things that my verbally abusive father told me on a regular basis. Um, it's a lot of work to try to overcome that voice that is there telling you, reinforcing every bad thing that other people say about you. And growing up, one of not just adults in general, when you're a kid, adults in general, one of their favorite things to say is, well, if you're having so many problems with so many different people, you're the problem. Because you can't have an issue with all of these different people and have it be that each one of them is wrong. So they really love to say, if you have a problem with everybody, then you are the one who is the problem. That is not necessarily true. That's not true a lot of times, in fact. Um, it's, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, so they try to get you to believe this growing up so that, I mean, it's probably coming from a good place. They want you to, as an adult, I mean, they're trying to help kids, whether they're children or if it's a teacher and she just wants to teach her class, or anybody who looks after children and actually cares about them. Um, you're trying to mold them into a fully functioning adult. And a very important part of growing up and becoming an adult is learning to take responsibility for things, learning how to self analyze and see what is wrong with you. Not really, it shouldn't be those words, not what is wrong with you, but what it is about you that is causing, X issue over here and Y issue over here. And you can identify what it is that's causing that problem and then work on it. And so a lot of times when they say, if you have a problem with everyone, the problem is you, is because they want you to be able to look at your own behavior and see if there really is something that you are doing that is causing this issue with different people. The problem with the way society is now, and definitely the way that it is if you were in an abusive relationship, whether it's an abusive relationship with a romantic partner, a best friend, or a parent, they will tell you horrible things about yourself. If you get online and post something and somebody disagrees with you, they will tell you how horrible you are. And they don't even know you. And as much as people try to encourage and say, oh, who cares what they think? They don't even know you, so why does their opinion matter to you? Like, it does. It does. It gets to you. Having people say things that are hurtful get to you. And even if in the beginning you can use that method of reminding yourself, this person doesn't know me at all, so their opinion of me is of no worth. If you start having enough people, regardless that none of them know you, you hear it enough times, you start to believe it. So I would like to be that little voice in your head, but combating and rebutting every single bad comment it is telling you about yourself and replacing it with something good. I think that's something that we all need. It's difficult to develop if you are someone who has dealt with so much depression and so much abuse, especially mental and emotional abuse. Uh, Physical abuse is hard to deal with, but at least it can heal physically. But what's going on in your mind is something you have to struggle with for the rest of your life. So I hope there's some way that I could help and see if maybe I could be a benefit to other people. I'm not perfect. I am still working on all of these issues myself. But I've learned that I do better when I help other people who have similar instances. Even if the only way that I'm helping them is letting them know that I understand and they are not alone. They are not alone. They are not the only person who thinks this way, feels this way, goes through this. And that would bring me great joy just to help somebody like that, even if it was only one person, to make them not feel like they're by themselves. I feel like I am by myself all the time. I only have one uh, cold blood related sister, and she has her husband and her kids, and they kind of just have their own little life, even though we only live like 15 minutes away from each other. We just don't spend time together, and she doesn't deal with the same type of psychological issues that I deal with, and there's really next to none of my friends, most of whom are online, that understand it either. And I've tried my best to explain it to them in great detail, not only the way that they could easily just look it up online and get a technical definition of these things. I will give them that because I'm so well versed in all of it that I know that enough to be able to just recite it without looking it up. But I will also give them the personal perspective on it and say how, okay, this is how it's described textbook wise, but this is what it's really like to live with it. And whether those things go together and how much so and whatever. And I try that to explain, to make other people understand. Nobody does. Nobody does unless that they go through it. And we get to this point where it's like, gosh, I wish other people could go through this so they could see what I'm talking about, what I'm feeling. Especially if it's physical. If it's physical and it's not something that will show up on maybe a blood test or whatever, like fibromyalgia. There's not a test to diagnose that, yet it is a very real, very painful condition. And so trying to prove it to other people when you can't prove it with x-rays and blood tests and all of that kind of stuff is really hard. And mental disabilities is the exact same way. It's an illness that no one else can see, and you still have to deal with it. And then you have to deal with the hate on top of it, of everyone who thinks that you're fake and you want attention and you're a hypochondriac and you are a drug seeker, and believe me, I have heard it all. So maybe this will be something that can help people and be along those lines of talking about health, develop some kind of fan base where I can help you the best that I can. Maybe you'll even be able to help me and give me ideas of things I haven't thought of. Um, it could end up being a really great thing. It would definitely help me with what's going on with my life right now. So let's see if this thing takes off. Talk to you later. Mwah.